In book 11, it's sad that I seem to be missing book 12, and there probably was some damning stuff in there. But this one is very important. Social normativeness as complicity with rape. So let's start with this. How could that be? How could social normativeness be complicity with rape? Well, first of all, let's look at the word trap. Trap is part backwards. They've rubbed it in your face so much that trap is part backwards. Consensual. Con the senses. Well, how could that be? How could one person calm the senses? You know, it's a group effort. You made a culture where people think in a certain way that doesn't include their senses. They're mindful of their job. They have their headphones on. They're glued to their iPhone. They're not thinking effectively and analyzing nature and human nature effectively. And this is a group effort. So it is safe to say that all sex at this point is trickery-based sex. If people knew better, they would be obeying God through me and not having any sex at all. Okay? Because blessed are the childless wombs was one of the last things people said. There's going to be a time. Cry for yourself, because a time will come when you say, blessed are the childless wombs, the wombs that never bore, that never nursed. Okay? Because it's wrong to have sex. And of course, Paul or something, he says, if you can, don't have sex. If you can't help yourself, get married. Okay? And don't deny each other, because it's better to do that than to burn with lust. But this was damn near 2,000 years ago. Okay? There's no excuse in 2019 for people to be having sex. They should have advanced as Christians to the point where they prioritize God and not relationships. They should have put God first masterfully. This testifies against every church that's been here for a long time. Why haven't you reached the point where your congregation doesn't have sex? Why are there so many of you? Why do you conform to the norms and the ethos and the mores and the social expectations of the nations that you're in when Satan is the god of this world? There's no excuse for that kind of extreme treachery, especially given 2,000 years or so for you to adjust and correct and fix your mistakes. To be socially normative to the point where one is not targeted is far worse than raping 100 women in one's life, okay, in a society where, social normativeness is not complicity with rape. So to be socially normative to the point where one is not targeted is far worse than raping 100 women in one's life. Your complicity with massive rapes, mass murder, etc. Right? Every crime that's allowed. You're saying, hey, you know what? It's okay not to do anything about that. You know what? It's okay to be, all the social norms exist to keep you from interfering with their eugenic culture, with the sexual sadist direction of society, with organized criminality, with trickle-down pedo energy, trickle-down rape energy, trickle-down corruption, trickle-down corrupt peasant who has been elevated far beyond where they should be, right? They should be in prison kind of direction. Okay, corporate crimes, corporate partnerships, corporate sabotage. You know, the cultures are part of the process of the corporate sabotage of the righteous, so the corruption continues, and eventually it's going to comes to a head after I die, because nobody is worthy. They finally bred everybody to be extremely unworthy, and long before this they had already said that their enterprise is a success because they've already made a system that was hopeless to overthrow. The good people can never make a fair system on this planet ever. Okay? They've made it that way. That's why they said their enterprise is a success. A new secular order, that God and the spirit of righteousness, love, the spirit of truth, the spirit of life is not allowed. That's why Jesus said he's going to send an advocate. He's going to show you that people don't really believe in God, that the prince of this world is condemned, okay? That people aren't righteous, and so on and so forth. It means that one reinforces the psychological construct, which includes dangerously cowardly and unfocused behavior, that caused every woman that has lost her virginity to have been raped one of many ways that men, women, and even children at times brag about behind the scenes. The key words here are consent. Con and consensual. Contrast. Okay? Content. Constitution. Condescending. Descending because of breeding. Breeding downwards. Okay, when every righteous person should be pointed upwards. It's also why they stigmatize martial arts with the ninja-dressed ISIS guys, the falconeers of the Arab family, and they associate the Saudi Arabian family with 9/11 and terrorism and funding terrorism. Okay, they stigmatize pushing back against the Western agenda, and they scream Western values which are not compatible with with the divine order and God's demands. You know, and then of course Isis herself is the name of an Egyptian deity, a deity of healing and sorcery, there are on record stick fighting priests of Osiris, for example, her husband in one version of her explanation. Okay, her son Horus is the Avenger, the Skywalker, Sky Law Core, Skywalking, Sky Law King. Okay, risking, rise king. We can go on and on about the king words. Okay. Talking, tall king, right? The Egyptian pharaohs were tall. We can go on and on, okay? So, you know, this is a martial art idea. The Horus, the falcon-headed person, I have a tattoo where he has he's holding a bow and arrow. Excuse me, he's holding bow and arrow in one hand, and he's holding the club, and he's giving weapons to the pharaoh, I believe it is, to smite the enemies. He's a war god. He's a martial art god. So between the ninja outfits, the falconer, which is a symbol of Horus, the falcons, okay, and the Isis name, who's said to be the mother of Horus in one of the descriptions of Horus, you know, a fake Horus, Haro-Isis, I believe it is, the Horus son of Isis. There's Haro-Ares, Horus the elder, and Har-Wer as Horus son of Ra, where his right eye is the sun, his left eye is the moon, is the truest depiction of it. Then they redefine the sun and the moon as symbols with all kinds of pagan deities and lying deities, where before it was simply trying to connect to God through nature and study it, and they hadn't truly come to sound conclusions. They were building on it. That's what the pyramids represent. Okay, and the pharaohs treated people fairly. They treated Abraham fairly. They, you know, the first pharaohs in the Bible, you know, they treated Abraham fairly. They treated Joseph fairly. It was then Ramses and all the, you know, these cruel guys rise to power, culminating with Ramses and the guys who came later that treated him unfairly. Okay, so these guys were actually trying to connect to God. Pharaoh was like, hey, why didn't you tell me this is your wife's, you know, to Abraham, you know, to Abram, you know, God is going to punish me. Here, take her back. Okay, you know, when Joseph interprets dreams of Pharaoh, he's looking for answers. He's looking for answers. He's not like, I'm a pagan, I'm going to do it my way. No, he's looking for answers. And when a man of God shows him answers, he accepts it and elevates him. The story of the Bible is that Pharaoh is looking for answers, and he gives him the Potiphera, you know, the daughter of a priest, the high priest of Ra's cult center, as a wife. These guys too were honest and looking for answers. You two should come together and be married, and he accepts her, and God doesn't punish him, and that's symbolic of God accepting that Ra's cult center in its older form was actually looking to connect for the truth about God, just like Nekhen, Horus, son of Ra. He's the hero son who's fighting for the truth and justice and for the sky law. It's open and shut. Okay, the true form of Horus is consistent and compatible and is the true direction of the Bible. Okay, which is by Baal. Baal, Jupiter symbolized by a bull. Okay, Baal, the bull. We have the bull, you have Apis, and you have Menivis, the bull of Heliopolis. You have Mont, the strong arm. You have all these, you know, the golden calf. Okay, obviously it's by the bad guys. And they outnumber the good guys, and they're the ones who presented the story. History is written by the winners, not the good guys. Rome was a very sexually immoral, evil nation, not the good guys. And they gave you the Bible. Yes, it's by the bad guys. And yes, you can extract the truth and kind of read between the lines like a newspaper or something. Anyway, agreeableness, one's desire to survive, and even one's desire to protect their family. Pro-tact. Rape tact. Erp, meaning wine. Erp tact. Okay, erp tech, T, rape tech for technology. T, the feminine suffix, adding something to it. Adding what? You know, sow fix, right? You reap what you sow, sowing your seed, and go on and on. So even one's desire to protect their family or their group is leveraged against them for the purpose of not only controlling their sexual behavior, but to get them to help control the sexual behavior of the masses so that the masses of rapists can rape them. There are some things that are more important than proper English and grammar, and those that refuse to see what one is trying to say are among the biggest rapists of all. Okay, while this guy's trying to communicate the message, I don't understand what he's trying to say. Speak proper English. You know? Stupid. Someone's trying to warn you about something very serious and you have a proper English song on, you should be shot in the fucking head. Okay. Book 11, page 2. Moral culturing. Proper moral culturing. One must attest the cultures of the big three. The whites, the Jews, the Asians. As soon as it's not about them being Asian, it's about them being corporate people. So the corporate Asians, right? Not the, you know, you have to put a special emphasis on the corporate elite and their white Jews and Asians. Then there's some black guys, there's some Hispanic guys. These are the main players in the game, right? You should resent them. Okay, Satan is the god of this world. These are the guys in charge. Break it down. Who's in charge? Know your enemy. Who's your enemy? Basic part of life, basic part of fighting the good fight is analyzing the enemy. Okay. One must attest the cultures, these corporate cultures of these people, because the effect they are going for. They change the aim of their studies and narratives to elevate the biggest rapists with the most ill-gotten gains over everyone else. Are corporations stopping at nothing to tell the truth, or are they supporting this culture? Going back to page 1, social normativeness as complicity with rape. These are corporate-derived cultures, corporate-sponsored cultures, corporate-sponsored Olympic athletes, corporate guys using Michael Jordan and them to sell their clothes. And when they come out with a new style, did this new style come to them from the masses, or do they give the masses the new style, and that affects the kind of psychological construct and the cultures, right? They're directing the cultures. Nowhere is this more obvious than in martial arts, where they expect us to believe that the tall, fast, skywalking, footworking, Shaka Zulu times 10 and Chukwa Mecha body types are not the superior form. You see all these white guys and stuff, and all these guys on TV, these Jews and stuff, they're flexing, look at me, these crypto Jews and stuff. They're like, look at me, the synagogue, look at my synagogue of Satan energy. Look at my synagogue of Satan martial arts, right? And they're not respecting the African source. They're not giving the Pharaoh his rightful place. Okay, it's extremely obvious. These guys are front and center. These guys are action heroes. Instead of the true hero son of God, they're the son of Aleister Crowley and the Hollywood elite and the corporate rape cults. It's a no-brainer. Corpus means body. Corpus. You can also scramble the word and get rape from it. P-U-S. Okay. So you need the the core. C-O-R. So C-O, okay, R, and then you switch the U with the P and you make it an A. So C-O rape. Okay. C-O rapes. Okay. So you can also, it's very obvious what they're doing. Serapis, right? The image of Jesus. See rape is. Okay, so rape is. Say rape is. Say rape is something else is what they're saying so that they can rape with impunity. And this allows for the rise of the Epsteins and the major sex traffickers of the world. And when they rip off some other rich person, they get thrown to the wolves. There's not an effective movement to stop these guys. It's when these guys don't do what they're told, they're allowed to fall. You know, there's some rape cults that are too big to fail, right? And just like there's some businesses, they argue, in banks that are too big to fail, and go on about that. In conclusion, a lack of proper pure masculine spirit, Sun Temple martial arts culturing, is more detrimental and effective in creating a suggestible or out-of-touch mind state than alcohol or roofies. By not putting this light on the stand, you've created a more effective culture. Let me briefly, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to turn my back, and they might switch the words, but you can tell by the scriptures I use, the scriptures of the lamps and the suns. I'm going to touch on this briefly, okay? Psalm 119, 105, your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path, right? You have to be able to see clearly the true spirit of God, the true word, okay? Proverbs 13:9, the light of the righteous shines brightly, but the light of the wicked is snuffed out, okay? You should not breed toward those sex cult, socially normative, advertising Hollywood bitches, okay? Nor should you breed with the problem solution, small town, KKK, or other clandestine churches, right? These are Masons. These are liars. These are fucking catch the stragglers and turn them out type bitches, okay? Proverbs 6:23-25. For this command is a lamp. This command is a lamp. The order is to put the lamp on a stand. God commands you to give the top martial artist his rightful place or die trying. Open and shut. The orders and the order are connected. For this command is a lamp. This teaching is a light. And correction and instruction are the way to life. Correction and instruction by who? By the top martial artists. Not by Joel Osteen. Not by your small town white supremacist. Not by your conservative Christian and Republican. It is by the true Son of God who's uncontrolled. He should instruct you. He should correct you. Not some sex cult child plugging scum. You know? Anyway. Keeping you from your neighbor's wife. Keeping you from... This is what keeps you from them. You see what a true man is, and it keeps you from making the wrong choice. One moment at a time. Okay. From the smooth talk of a wayward woman, do not lust in your heart after her beauty, or let her captivate you with her eyes. Proverbs 20:27. The human spirit is the lamp of the Lord that sheds light on one's inmost being. Matthew 5:15. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. And of course, there's the candles and the virgin parable of the virgins. You know, the 10 virgins or whatever it was. Okay, so the lamp and the sun of righteousness and the sun.